Alright, everybody hear me? Yep. Awesome. So this room is the first room the discoverers were allowed into. It's located approximately 45 feet below the Natural Bridge here. This room is called the Bear Pit. It was given that name because during development in '63, they did find bear bones in there. They're not in this room anymore. They were actually on display in the dining center if you would like to look at them after the tour. I believe they are 8,000-year-old black bear jawbone and a 5,000-year-old black bear leg bone. Not from the same bear. Highly unlikely a bear is going to lose his jaw, live 3,000 years, and then just lose his leg. It's not going to happen. Now this room is also going to be our picture station, so make sure you stay together with whoever you came with today and be taking pictures of each individual group. Stay on the right hand side of the handrail. Last one in, please shut the door. If you would like to be in somebody else's photo, please ask them first. Of course, just jump in. But other than that, is everybody ready?
Yeah, let's
Any
go,
questions?
Shut the door.
You can guess how deep we are right now.
More than 5 feet.
Huh?
More than 5 feet.
We are definitely more than 5 feet.
185.
You are way too deep.
Say 80, 90.
Too shallow.
102.
You're very close, but you're too shallow.
112.
Now you're too deep.
108.
Still too deep. Huh?
108.
Correct. You know you could just look at the sign over here, right?
Oh.
Yes, we are 108 feet below the Natural Bridge. This room is called Pluto's Anteroom. Now this room got its name because when the discoverers stumbled across this room, the crawl space up here, they shined their lights along the room, and to them, this resembled the Underworld. Now they figured that in mythology, since Pluto was the Roman god of the Underworld, they thought it was a perfect name for this particular room. Now an anteroom is just a big fancy word, and it means small room leading into a series of larger rooms. So you will see larger rooms along the duration of this tour. They will progressively get larger, the largest room being the last room on the tour. Now this room does have some great examples of all the formations you'll see throughout the tour. The scientific term used to describe all formations is speleothem. Now speleothems have two categories. The first category is called dripstone. Dripstones, as the name implies, have dripping water which allows them to form. And the dripstones are going to be the stalagmites, which might when they reach the ceiling. They are the stalactites holding tight to the ceiling. When they meet together in the middle, they form a column. Now columns are also formed whenever a stalactite reaches down to the ground or when a stalagmite reaches up to the ceiling. And right here we have some very special stalactites. So those really skinny ones you see up here, those are called soda straw stalactites. And just like the name implies, they are thin and hollow, allowing water to pass through them. So technically, they could be used as if they were actual soda straws. But that would taste a little different than you might expect. What do you think that would taste like?
Better.
Actually, it would taste like a third-degree felony. Please do not break it off and drink it. Now, that is our first category called dripstone. Our second category is called flowstone. And as water flows down, that's what allows them to grow. That's going to start right here with something called a cave ribbon. And I kind of looks like somebody grabbed one and pinched a piece of it off the wall. Now, sometimes those cave ribbons will get long enough to hang off the ceiling and become a cave curtain like the pizza slice right up here. And eventually those cave curtains will get long enough to touch the ground and become cave drapery like the one right below it. Now, regardless of what a formation looks like, the process that allows everything to grow begins the same way. That process begins whenever water enters the soil, collects carbon dioxide from dead or decaying plants and animals, and becomes slightly acidic, forming weak carbonic acid. To make it a little easier to understand, it basically turned into soda water. Thus, soda water enters the limestone, which is the walls and ceilings throughout the cavern system. As it passes through the limestone, it actually picks up another set of chemicals called calcium carbonate. All that eventually enters the atmosphere of the cave system, where the carbon dioxide is then released into the atmosphere, and the calcium carbonate that it picked up, well, that stays behind the water, where it crystallizes to form a mineral called calcite. Calcite is what makes every single formation you see in the cave system, and it's believed by many geologists that it takes around 100 years to grow the size of a cubic inch. It's around the size of an ice cube every century. Now, that is an approximate growth rate, so that's not going to be true necessarily 100% of the time. That's really just to say how slow, pretty much how everything grows. Yeah. Now, before we continue on, something I would like to point out is, well, does anybody know what this is?
Roof.
Roof, technically, I guess.
Looks like mica.
Huh?
Looks like mica.
Oil?
Technically it is, but oil from what?
Something dead. Bottom.
No. This are bat oils.
Bat-
A bat roost, actually. This is where all the bats slept. Or in the words of a toddler 2 years ago, that is where all the bats cuddled. See, bats are mammals just like us who produce bodily oils. They live and breathe on the ceiling here, over here, and other various spots throughout the cave. And they're great examples of why we ask everybody not to touch, because they've been fossilized for several hundred years. Now, with the amount of people we have come through here daily and weekly, if everybody was allowed to touch everything in the cave, it would start to look like these spots very quickly. So please do not touch anything in the cave. We got that. Now, if you're wondering what happened to the bats, well, when the sinkhole collapsed, they didn't have a way back into their home, which was this cave. So we believe they moved to the Bracken Cave just down the road, which is now home to the largest colony of bats in the world. Over 20 million bats live in the Bracken Cave system. They're all little Mexican freetails. They're not much bigger than my hand. That's including their wingspan as well. They're very small bats.
Are there tours for those too?
Not tours, but if you sign up online, because that's another set of private property, I'm not sure how much it is. But there are opportunities throughout the summer where you get to watch them fly out.
Don't they fly over the San Antonio Bridge too?
But they do it in the Austin Bridge.
I'm not sure about the San Antonio Bridge, but I do know they do it for Austin.
Yeah, the Austin Bridge.
Oh, Austin, yeah.
Yeah, you have to wait forever.
Yeah, so when I went and watched the bats fly to the Bracken Cave, I was there when they started at 7:30. I left at 10 o'clock and they still weren't done. Now, underneath this bat roost here, we have some bat guano. If you don't know what bat guano is, that is bat droppings. And if you don't know what guano is, that means you have never seen Ace Ventura. Now, in just a moment, we are going to continue on. We're going to go down the switchbacks here. Please be very careful. That is the steepest slope we'll walk down today. It is a 72-foot descent to reach the next room. You should use the handrails, take slow, small steps, and be very careful, as it is very wet coming down as well. I do suggest taking wide turns that will be better on your hips, knees, and ankles. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. Now, at the bottom of this slope, on your left-hand side, if you're paying attention, there's going to be a little plant. It's a little one, not much bigger than this here. It was not planted intentionally. In fact, it's believed that it was a spore on someone's clothing that fell off during development. And once we added the artificial lighting, it began to grow. That plant is believed to have been growing since 1963, and it is the only plant in our cavern system. We call it the living fern. Now, before we do continue down, does anybody have any questions about this room here?
Like the plant was formed from something that fell off your shirt?
Yeah, a little spore.
Is that another cave system over there?
No,
No, it's just.
it connects to another hallway.
Oh, okay.
Are you ready? Here we go.
trong đang miền là chiết tôn này hả mà
Hang đó.
khác mà bây giờ miền bắc tôn này buổi chiều bạn màu này.
Watch out for that puddle.
Okay.
Alright. So if we go our ascent back towards the surface, we're now approximately 150 feet below the natural bridge. All the dimensions for this room end in 50 as we are 50, this room is 50 feet tall, 50 feet wide, and 150 feet long. Now these are the largest formations in our entire cabin system. However, this is not the largest room. The largest room is the next and final room for the tour. We'll make our way there in just a moment. Now this room's name was inspired by the giant formations in the center here. We call this the Castle of the White Giants. The first of those giants is all the way on the left. We call this the Watchtower. This is the tallest column in the cave system, about 50 feet tall all the way up. Over here in the center, we have the Mount of the Landlord. This is the largest stalagmite in our cave. Now this formation got its name because the holes inside reminded the discoverers of apartment windows, and this little guy right here is the landowner coming up to collect his rent. And over here on the end, we have the king's throne. And in the king's absence, he requested us to install some chandeliers up on the ceiling. Now one of those chandeliers, the king wanted it to look like food, so we made some caged bacon and hung it above the watchtower here. Yes, you heard me correctly, I said bacon. Now with that cave bacon, there's a chemical that comes with the water and gives it each of those different colored strips. Which you could study just like tree trunk rings. Darker colors usually means more of a wet season, and lighter colors tend to be more of a drier season. Now, in just a moment, we are going to continue on. We're going to go around the corner and up a set of stairs on the back of the room. It's only 35 stairs. You're going to be fine. But they are still very wet and very steep. So again, make sure you use the handrails and take slow steps. Now, when we go around the corner, on the other side of that handrail over there, you're going to see a sign that's going to point out the second deepest point on the tour. At a total of 207 feet below the natural bridge, just a few feet short of Purgatory Creek, we gave that section a very special name. So that section is the original path the discoverers took when they first went through the cave to get from this room into the next room. When they went down there, it was under a very thick amount of mud. So, since it was so nasty and dirty down there, they named it Grendel's Canyon after the creature Grendel from the epic poem Beowulf, considering only a monster would ever want to live in such a nasty place. Now, as we are going to continue on, again, stay together. Once we go up these stairs, it will be very crucial to stay together because lights will begin to turn off behind us. So make sure you stay together as much as possible. With that being said, everybody ready? Does anybody have any questions before we go? All ready? This room was formed differently than the other rooms on this tour. If you remember back in Sherwood Forest, I explained that this cave was slowly carved out over time by water that came from the crack in the ceiling. Well, in the other room that we were just in, if you looked up at the ceiling, that crack widened out quite a bit, and that's what allowed this formation to become much larger. This room, that's not the case. That crack is right here. That's the same one from the past two rooms. Look how small it is. So how did this room form? Well, look around. See how those giant boulders go on the side of the room? This room collapsed. You're gonna be fine, keep smiling. Now, what caused it to collapse was that there were several intersecting cracks and joints throughout the ceiling. Perspective on that, imagine there's a crack going through the ceiling one way and then another way, kind of like a big X. Anything underneath that X is going to fall and collapse because there's nothing holding it up anymore. But before this room was able to actually collapse, there was a lot of suction underneath the bottom layer of rock, something called the buoyancy force. Remember, this cave was still all the way up to the top of water at one point in time. And that water pushed up on the ceiling and protected it from falling. But once that water receded down below into the aquifer system, there was nothing left to support the ceiling in this room. So it collapsed from each of its various layers all the way up until it was able to stabilize at the top of the room and prevent itself from falling any further. Kind of like upside down stairs all the way up. And just like a dome, as this is called a breakout dome, it's pushing up against each of its various angles, so it's not going to fall again anytime soon. So you're going to be fine with that. When we do start heading our way up to the top of this room, please be very careful. This will be considered to be the most strenuous part of the tour, only because there are no scheduled stops until we reach the top of the room. So if at any point you feel like you need to take a break, go right ahead and take a break. I'm not going to make fun of you for it, but if you're afraid somebody will, take a picture. They probably won't notice the difference anyway. But also enjoy it as much as you can along the way. There's a lot of very beautiful and amazing formations. Some of them are going to resemble breakfast food items. There's a couple donuts, there's a few pancakes, and there's even a fried egg. Now the fried egg is formed because the water was falling from such a high point on the ceiling that as it was falling, the minerals moved to the center of the water. When it hit the formation, the minerals were left in the center of the formation, gave it a yellow color due to the calcite, and whatever splashed to the side gave a white ring resembling a sunny side up fried egg. Now this room is about 100 feet tall, 100 feet wide, and 350 feet long. Around the size of an American football field. And this is not just the largest room in our cavern system. This is the largest natural showroom in the state of Texas. This is the Hall of the Mountain King.
Wow.
Okay, do you have a remote or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect timing.
What's going on?
So, does anybody have any questions before we head up? Except for the fact that I have a remote. Everybody ready? Here we go. all of it is bat guano. Now, it has been fossilized for a very, very long time. But even though it's been fossilized, the humidity in the cave keeps the bat guano nice and moist. You're welcome. Now, be thankful the bat guano is not fresh, because if it was, we would need respiratory masks. Bat guano lets off a very strong aroma of ammonia. If you've ever had cats, you know exactly what that smells like. Now, a few of you probably noticed that flickering light way at the end over there. Well, what is that flickering light? Well, that is another tour. The cave continues on beyond that light, another 1.5 miles of undeveloped cave system, meaning no lights, no pathways, and no handrails. That is another tour we offer called the Discovery Adventure Tour. That tour takes around 3 to 4 hours to complete, depending on your best ability to crawl.
Wait, hold on. You said 3 to 4 hours to complete. That's not what the lady said.
The Discovery Adventure Tour,
Yeah.
3 to 4 hours to complete.
Are you serious? She said 3 to 4 hours total for both of them.
Each. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be done by like after dinner time.
And that tour, well, the smallest space you squeeze through is about 14 inches tall, called the birth canal. Given them that name because of the noises you make trying to get to the other side of it. Judas. With that being said, thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful day. Drive safely. Okay.